Yo, what's up, people? Today's 8/24/2022, and for those of you following this, y'all know that I am an ICT disciple, and for this video is going to be pretty much a run through of what's happening with euro dollar. And so, if you saw my video from yesterday, you saw that I did not get a chance to enter. However, I did have a very specific narrative to go long on it. And so, unfortunately, though, I just didn't get the chance to get in the market as it did not give it. And this morning, my bias, although I didn't really have a bias, to be honest, I didn't have. I knew I wanted it to be long, but it wasn't as strong. You can see in the 240-minute chart here. Let me go ahead and expand this out. Y'all can just ignore. If you guys are wondering what are these horizontal lines, these are pretty much just time zones that I have. They're plotted in each one of my time frames. And so, anyways, if you look at the 240-minute time frame, you can see here we pretty much rebalanced this level. Then we had a fair value gap here in a 240-minute area, and so this is when I'm trying to figure out, where is the market most likely to go. And so, although my bias wasn't as strong as yesterday's bias to the upside, today it's still continued. It still looks like it wants to continue going higher, and so this is good news. And so, many of these days it kind of makes you feel like you're losing out on opportunities. But you're really not. You're really just looking at the market, because, by the way, I didn't do anything today either. And so, these are the moments where you can give yourself a chance to just look at the market and look at it from a perspective of how would ICT analyze the market. And that's really all you can do, right? And so sometimes, even he's mentioned it, right? He doesn't have a bias as to what's happening. And if that's you and you're confused of what's going on, that's okay. That happens. I'm pretty sure that happens to many of us. And if those do not want to admit it, then obviously that's something else going on. If you're a beast and you know where this market's going just by looking at a few certain things, then kudos to you. You should probably just be making videos. Otherwise, I'm not saying I'm the best at analyzing the market and figuring out bias, but I know a little bit, and with that much of a little bit that I do know, I feel that empowers me. However, like I said, days like today, they can be a bit confusing. However, I know my bias today was 60 to 70% one-sided. However, I also felt that the market could have just continued going one way. And so when that happens, all we can do is just continue to analyze, as how ICT mentions. And so, anyway, so let's get to it. Enough of my little rant there. I know I said we were going to just get to it, but now let's do it for real. So here we go. Once again, the 240-minute chart, rebalance that. The 60-minute, there's that rebalance started coming down, and so it had to come back to rebalance this whole area here. That's what the market did. And then check out what happened today. Now, obviously, this was like this during New York session, and so because it had already rebalanced all this is when I thought it was just going to continue going lower. And so I never really got an opportunity to get in. I was looking at my 15-minute. However, keep in mind, these setups are fractal, and I would have loved for this swing high here to take out this area here, and instead it created what? A relative equal highs. And so I started looking at this level here, and then I also was looking at this level here, right? Because let me just go ahead and move this way. To me, actually, on the 60-minute, this looked like the high of London session right here, but I just realized the high of London session is this one right there. But it's okay. A few pips is not much of a difference. And anyways, so I would have loved to have gone short here in this 15-minute fair value gap. However, I did not see the the fractal setup, push through here, and then break lower, which it did. Even though it didn't push above this buy stops, it did do it right here. So this is pretty much like a continuation of bearish order flow, right? Where it may look like a support and resistance type thing, but we all know it's not. And so anyways, it came in here into this fair value gap with this 15-minute. And let's go ahead and jump down in there. And by the way, there was news today. However, when it happened, it didn't happen after news. The move actually happened before the news. And even then, we didn't even close below this or, below this right here. And actually, it would have been, to be honest, from my own perspective, this would have been the actual swing low that I would have loved to have seen broken out. However, we did broke out, buy side liquidity. And I would have loved to have seen sell side liquidity get taken out. Either this candle here, this candle, or this candle, right? So any one of those first three candles, I would love to have seen that move push lower. And by the way, I would have loved to have seen that after news and not before news. However, you can see that the market still responds based on ICT concepts, and that's amazing to see it. Now, although I'm not doing anything on this, I love seeing this because it just continues to reinforce things that this is the real deal, and it's just amazing to see this. So it's not a loss for me. I have my rules in place, and as long as I follow that, that's all I can do. So ICT, and I'm pretty sure if he was in front of the charts here, he sees this right away, and I'm sure he has a lot more confidence than myself to be able to take something like this, right? And anyways, so I didn't do anything here, but like I said, the reason why is because I like to wait after news, not before news. Like I said, we're all evolving here at different speeds and different rates, and so if you're that type of trader that will take a trade before the news happens, then kudos to you. Good job if you took this trade. But anyways, for me, I didn't do it, and I love to see this stuff just unfold on its own, and it's just really cool. But anyways, after New York session, so by the way, my New York session kill zone is these two gray areas, and then the two red in between lines. One is the 8:30 Eastern Time open, and then the other one is the New York Stock Exchange 9:30 Eastern open. And so I like to look at those areas as well. Once the New York kill zone, 10 a.m. Eastern, was done with, you can see the market pushed even lower. And so if you guys seen my video on plotting highs and lows for each time session, I suggest you do, because that is exactly what was setting up today. And so you can see the market finally broke out through here, and we had 1, 2, 3 candles with speed break out. So that's the displacement that ICT talks about. And once we started getting a candle that we have one lower high to the left and lower high to the right, then that is where I draw my Fibonacci extension level, and then I wait for the 50% retracement level to get set up. And by the way, there was news at the 10 a.m. Eastern time, so that's exactly aligning with my strategy, with my setups that I like to look for. Excuse me, my rules, not my setup. This is all ICT. But what I mean is my rules specifically. And so this is exactly what I love to see. After the 10 a.m. Eastern time, we broke lower. We took out sell side liquidity down here, and we rallied with speed straight back up. We took out buy side liquidity here and also here as well. So these are two different areas where that happened. And once that happened, you can see the market came right in here. Unfortunately, now this is another trade that I didn't take, and the reason why is because I wait for that 50% level. If I don't get that 50% level, I usually do at least half a pip to 1 full point of entry tops, depending on how the market moves. And unfortunately, I just didn't get that. Now, obviously, ICC teaches that as long as you get, the market sees a little bit of the pretty much even a pip right under the fair value gap, then that is a valid trade. However, you still have to think about risk management. And so I like to get into the 50% area. That is my area of entry. And then my target is pretty much the -5 area. So let me just show you the -5 extension area. Let me just show you how that looks like. So this is pretty much target. So you can see we have a 1-to-2 ratio, and that's pretty much my risk parameters. 1-to-2 is more than perfect here. And in this case, we just didn't get hit on that 50% retracement. So there was no trade for me. Unfortunately, the market just continued running through. It got down to like 27 and 6, and my entry was around 25, 26 area. So missed it by a whole point and a point and a half or so. And so it's super unfortunate, like I said, but you can see the crazy thing is how this happens and how often this happens. And even in the higher time zones here, you can see the market also kind of creating that specific setup, not exactly the same, but it did. But anyways, the important part now here at this point is that it also setting up the same way with ICT concept, where we took out sell side, took out buy side with speed. And so my bias, I mean, I'm done with trading, but my bias now is to continue going higher. And so anyway, so that was the trade setup I was eyeing this morning. And like I said, unfortunately, we just didn't get it. And you can see it got up to that -200 area that I've also been watching. And you can see there's like a little area here. Obviously, this is not AC. I know ICT looks at this, and like I said, I'm sure he'd be willing to do something here. I still don't do anything on these, but I've been watching this very closely as it just continues to happen, and it's so cool to see that. But anyways, so that's that. And then also the last thing I want to leave you guys with, whoever's watching, is that check it out what happened here on the daily. Now let me I'm just gonna use this for the 5-minute, and then I'm gonna show this on the 5-minute only. Wait, did I get the wrong one? I think I did. Yeah, here we go. So the thing that happened here on the daily, and this is what's gonna be interesting, is that we have a lower high to the left and a lower high to the right. And so what that means now is by tomorrow, especially if this candle closes this way, there would be a higher push to the upside. At least that's what my, based on just previous experience, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Now we still need, anything can change though, because we still need Asia session and London session to develop tomorrow, or by tonight actually, where I'm located. And so my bias can change. However, this still looks pretty good to the upside, especially because we took out that whole weekly level here. And so my bias is starting to get stronger and stronger to the upside. And where can we come up to? Well, we have two areas where it can come into, and that would be this fair value gap in here, or this fair value gap there. Obviously, this was a pretty hard push, so it may just even come to this middle fair value gap. If I were to draw my fib from here to down here, that looks like a 50% area. And so let me look at that. Yeah, so there it is. That's equilibrium. And so anyways, so that's that. Hopefully you guys saw the ICT setups happening before your eyes. If you guys were looking at euro dollar, like I said, I'm a little bit I'm not disappointed because the trade didn't develop. It's pretty much okay. Like these things happen and will continue to happen in this sort of fashion. And other times I'm gonna get my 50% retracement that, according to my rules, I'm able to take the trade with confidence, right? And so it's not to say that I'm not confident to take this trade. It's just it's not part of my rules right now. And if it changes in the future, maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But for now, that is my setup that I look for. And I freaking love this. And by the way, I did go over that in my little mini rule rules course, you may call it that. And so I do go over my specific entry setup of that I like to see when it comes to using ICT's setup. So, and by the way, I know I keep saying my setup. It's not my setup. It's ICT's. What I mean is just my rules when it comes to taking a trade. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and have a good one.